Yesterday, I spoke with President Trump, and I reiterated the facts. Our border is secure, and less than 1% of the illegal fentanyl entering the United States comes from Canada. Even so, we took action with our $1.3 billion plan to further strengthen our border. I also stressed that the tariffs the U.S. administration chose to impose will hurt American workers and businesses, and that, as our shared history has proven, we should work together instead to tackle today's challenges rather than fighting one another. Canada's ministers, officials, and I will continue to engage with our American counterparts. Our goal remains to get these tariffs, all tariffs, removed. In the meantime, we'll be taking action to support Canadians through the tough times ahead.
You look at different borders around the world. You look at India and Pakistan. There are so many borders around the world where those like neighboring countries don't really get along. Neighbors. Sometimes, like neighbors that even speak the same language, they don't get along. One thing about Canada and America that made us so unique, our culture is the same. The food is the same. You understand, you go to America, like Americans come here, there's no like culture shock. Well, especially if exception if you are African American and you come in here to like Canada, there are certain type of foods that you may want, you wouldn't find them here. When you come to your collard greens and those type of things, right? You wouldn't find here if that's what you want. Our border has been safe. I remember back in the day when before 9/11, we used to cross over to Buffalo. We used to be here in Toronto and say, let's go to Buffalo to either shop or let's go to Buffalo for lunch. We drive across the border to Buffalo for lunch. Sometimes we go over there, spend the night, and then come back. Before we had a Walmart here, we used to go over there to shop at like Walmart. So there is no major problems with the northern border that America share with us. There's no major problem. On the southern border, yes, most crossings happen at the southern border. Our border is secure because we have policies in place and we have implemented. Heard what our Prime Minister says, less than 1% fentanyl goes to America from like Canada. I mean, America, you have to face your own reality now, and you have to face your own truth. Need and supply. Need and supply. Fentanyl comes into your country because you consume fentanyl. No one brings fentanyl into your country to cause your citizens to become addicts. Your citizens crave fentanyl, and the drug dealers, the suppliers, supply the need of your citizens. So if you want to tackle the problem, deal with your own addicts in your country, that they would not be dependent on fentanyl. All of the money that you spend on guns and your military and whatever, divert a little towards dealing with the drug problem, the epidemic, the fentanyl epidemic that you have in your country. And maybe when the need comes down, the supply will dwindle.
Starting today, LCBO, the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world, will begin removing U.S. products from its store shelves. And as the exclusive wholesaler, American brands will no longer be available in LCBO catalog, meaning other retailers, bars, and restaurants in the province will no longer be able to restock U.S. products. This is an enormous hit to the American producers. Every year, the LCBO sells nearly $1 billion worth of U.S. wine, beer, cider, seltzers, and spirits, including more than 3,600 products from 35 states. As of today, every single one of these products is off the shelves.
The Canadians have been complaining for years that the government has a monopoly on buying alcohol. You know, if you are a bar in like Canada, if you are a restaurant, if you're a club, whatever, if you need alcohol, you have to go to the LCBO. The LCBO is the government body, you know, that buys alcohol in bulk. And the government has been saying for years, we do that because we get like better price, better selection. Yeah. The LCBO, Liquor License Board of Ontario, is the biggest buyer of alcohol in the entire world. Right? Yes, the government has a monopoly on bringing in alcohol into like Canada. And yes, the government do it because it is a cash cow for the like government. The government make billions of dollars in taxes from like controlling alcohol in this province, yeah? And in most provinces. But you know what? Now I can say thank God that like policies was left in place because of that strength, that buying strength, which the government always say that they have. The government can use that strength to teach Donald Trump. And you know, guys, earlier when I was saying, when I saw how Trump was bitching up on like Canada, and I was upset, you know, and I made a video of it, you know, I was not proud to be Canadian anymore. What? Strategically, I didn't realize it strategically. Man, this thing has been in the works for a long time. The government of Canada targeted strategic states, strategic businesses in America. You know, they told a story about David and Goliath, eh? And what America has to realize that you can bully for so long. You can use, and that's what you've been doing. You've been using like bully to bully the world. But the world is coming together to isolate you. The world is coming together to tell you that, yes, you might have military strength. You don't have the economic strength that you once had. It's dwindled. And what the world buys from you, a matter of fact, what Canada buys from you, we can buy from anywhere else in the world. What we get from you. What you buy from us can only be gotten from us. There might be other, you know, other nations that you do not have good relationships with, that you do not have diplomatic relationships with. And what you get from us, at the price you get from us, is a bargain on our soft food, on our potash, on our nickel, on our whatever. You don't pay market value for what you get from it. You don't. So you think that you're strong and you're mighty and you're powerful and you can bully, but one day the bullied would stand up and would say no more. We are not going to allow you. We're going to fight back. And this is what Canada, you do not disrespect us. You disrespected us. And we are fighting back. Strategically, we are hitting you. We are targeting you where it hurts, because this is what we have to do. You got a madman as your president running around, picking fights with his allies, picking fight with his biggest trading partners. For what? Our countries are so intertwined. It has always been that way. We rely on each other. We have sacrificed our men and women in wars that you have started, wars that didn't concern us. We don't have enemies around the world. We don't go around the world creating enemies. You do. And then you drag us into your war, and being your neighbor, being your best friends, being your ally, we have stuck with you. And then you turn around and spit in our faces. We are polite people. We are a calm people. We are, we are a welcoming people. But when you insult us, we are not going to take it lying down.
Please listen to us. Canada could do a lot more. Canada has been taken over, Brett, by Mexican cartels. They bring up these pill presses and printers and the medicines that they fake. You can't tell the difference.
Yeah, it's major
Pharma
problem.
companies can. You need a spectrographer to do.
Canada has been taken over by the Mexican cartel. Wow. When? Where? How? Well, you see, this is the type of thing that Fox News spread, yeah? And you have somebody sitting there like Brett Bear, sitting there, someone who's supposed to be educated, someone who's supposed to be well informed as a news journalist, someone who's supposed to have the facts, sitting there and having this propagandist, Peter Navarro, ex-convict, spread lies to the American people that Canada has been taken. I said, Canada has been taken over by the Mexican drug cartel. Wow. I wouldn't even waste my time. I wouldn't even waste my time to Google this, because it is not true. We don't have any Mexican gangs over here. I'm saying it. And I didn't even Google. We don't have any gang wars in our country. So for this man, who is a government official, he's an ex-convict, so I don't know how he ended up, in the government, but this is America. This is what you do. You put ex-convicts, you put people who are not qualified in position of power, going on national TV, lying that, Canada has been taken over by the Mexican drug cartel. Shameful. This is what America has become. Even when the truth is in front of them, they do not believe truth. This is what Russia has done to America. They has played you against each other. Blacks against whites, Democrats against Republicans. Russia has already won. The intelligence war that Russia has fought against America, Russia has won, Russia continues to win. And Russia sitting back now. It took them 20 years, 30 years to get America to the Russia did this to you. That you don't believe facts. You don't trust one another. Russia has played you, and Russia has won. And many Americans are going to believe this shit because they don't research. They don't think independently. It is sad to see what has become of the once, shining star on the hill. The star is no longer shining. It is dimmed. And you did it to yourself. To my African people of melanin, it's what I keep saying, you have to look at you have to see what's happening. You must have insight. You must be able to see what's happening, and you have to know that no. I cannot continue to live in such a system. I cannot continue to live in a place that offers me no more prosperity. Look at all the chaos that's happening. It's chaos. How do you wake up every day and feel good about yourself? How do you wake up every day and feel proud? With all this chaos, you don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. You don't know. The world is, this is what your president has done to you. You cannot function that way. They're coming after you. They have already started. So you have to look at the trend. You have to look at the situation. You got to look at how things are happening. And you have to abandon ship. You have to. You know, it is time for us to go home. It is time for us to repatriate. We have to go home. And when they said the awakening will come, you know, this is how it happens, you know. These are your signs. Because you're not going to just wake up one day and you'll be like, oh my God. No, these are the signs. Trickle down, step by step. You look at the signs and you have to have the understanding to realize that something is happening. I'm not going to wait until the last minute. Like I said, the rich, the wealthy, they already know what's happening because they are the ones at the top. But it's always the poor at the bottom are the last to know what's happening. But if you are awake and you can see the signs, you're able to interpret the signs, and you know that something is happening and I need to get out of here. So, don't wait. These are the signs that let you know that the awakening is happening, and we have to return to where we come from. We have to return to a place that is developing, that whereby we can invest and help grow. And the only place that gives us the opportunity as Black people is Africa. Yes, there's a lot to be done in Africa that when it comes to us. And this is why some of the countries in Africa now that are opening up to welcoming us, we have to start looking at those countries. And when other countries see the impact that is happening, they'll be like, yeah, we need to get a piece of that pie also. This is how the awakening begins.
America can't invade Canada. Trump can't conquer Canada. America is not in a position to conquer anyone. When I was working on the next Civil War, I spoke with a lot of counterinsurgency experts from the United States, and they made it pretty clear that the American military has learned painfully over the course of 70 years that you cannot really hold a population against its will, even if only a tiny fragment of that population considers you holding them against their will. So, if they can't hold Baghdad, I'm not sure why they think they can hold Montreal. But the truth is that what this is really is the ramblings of lunacy and imminent breakdown. And that's what it's really a symptom of. I mean, I think you can see Los Angeles is burning and they can't stop it. They can't even stop blaming each other for it. Ordinary citizens, some with Ivy League degrees, are starting to kill their business elites and to widespread approval. They don't have even a shred of solidarity. And to make war, you need solidarity. And that is the one thing they absolutely don't have. America's also not used to fighting wars that aren't divided from them by an ocean. They would suddenly have an enemy that was along this huge border. And also, they're extremely vulnerable to attacks on their homeland. They're not a people used to suffering for war, which inevitably they would in this fantasy situation. That doesn't mean that Canada's out of the woods or that suddenly we're not under threat. We're actually under very deep threat, and we need to prepare for economic, political, social, and cultural chaos. It's just actual conquest is not really in the cards.
I'm not even sure if I should even, Has America ever won any war that they fought in? Did not win Vietnam. That's for sure. North Korean, the Korean War, you did not win. Baghdad. How many years did it take you to get it from Baghdad and Afghanistan. In our lifetime, has America ever won any war? Like World War One and Two was won, but it was not. It was the Allied forces. So you played a role, but you cannot take credit for that. You destabilize, and then it costs you trillions of dollars to remain in the country for 20-something years. What have you gotten to show for Iraq? What have you gotten? What do you have to show for Afghanistan? And when Joe Biden pulled out from Afghanistan, you still criticize him, although Joe Biden used the agreement that Trump had in place to get out from Afghanistan. Joe Biden didn't come in there and implement any new policies to get out. He took the agreement that Trump had in place to get out. Right? So a couple lives were lost. Okay, fine. One life lost is too much. But a couple lives were lost. But after being there for 20-something years, the longest war that you fought, spent trillions of dollars that you could have put into education to educate your people, to have health care, better healthcare system for your people, universal healthcare. As one of the richest countries in the world, that you don't have really universal healthcare is shameful in the developed world. You are the only country that don't have universal healthcare, where your citizens go bankrupt. If they get sick, God forbid they get sick. So you could not hold Baghdad, Mogadishu. You guys remember Mogadishu? Black Hawk Down. Go watch that movie. You lost in Vietnam. You lost in Iraq, Afghanistan. You're stuck there. Where else? You want to talk about invading Canada and annexing Canada. Okay. We're going to welcome you with open arms. And this is what your Secretary of Defense said. Donald Rumsfeld, I believe was his name, when you guys went into Iraq. That the Iraqis will greet you with open arms. Did they? You insulted us, and we are not taking it. We are not taking your insult. We might be small. You know the story of David and Goliath, yeah? We might be small than you, not in landmass, because landmass, we are the second largest country in the world, but by population-wise. And this is why there is a gap between what you buy from us and what we buy from you, because you consume, because of your population, you consume more, so you buy more from us. We supply more to you. But we buy over $300 billion worth of product from you every year. You buy from us over 400 billion because your population is larger and you consume more. But I'm proud now to be Canadian. I was a little upset in the beginning, but now that I see how Canadians have rallied together, and me, when I go to the grocery store, I'm here, and I go to buy anything, I don't buy nothing. I make sure that is made in America. And Canadians are sticking it out. Canadians are rallying. Canadians are not buying anything. And you think it's not going to have an effect on you? Of course it will. It already has. We stopped buying your bourbon, your whiskey, and whatever. And that's the thing, though. It's on consignment. So when we buy, we don't pay for it. It's on consignment. I was hoping to see them, opening the bottles and pouring it down the drain. That would have made me very happy. But then if we do that, we have to pay for it. Right? So we buy on consignment, which means that we do not pay. So we can ship it back to you. How many jobs in America depend on import and export to Canada? Thousands. So we might be smaller, but we have power. And we are using the power that we have strategically to hit you in places that we know is going to hurt. We're not like the madman running around causing havoc. No, we sit down, we plan meticulously, and we execute so that when we fire, bullseye each and every time. This is the African Jumpy. Thank you for watching the video, guys. If it's the first time, please give the video a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hadi karibuni sana, habari asubuhi, habari za jioni, siku mwema, siku vipi, wherever you are in the world, I welcome you. I welcome you. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers. Peace and love. Until next time. Bye for now.